Ah, what's up? What's up? What's up to my ADHD men out there? Good evening, and I hope you are taking care of yourselves. Uh, Forgive me if my voice is a little harsh today. I've been doing a lot of chatting. I've started doing some free coaching. I'm trying to pour as much value as I can into this community until January 1st at least. And, I'm already setting up some stuff to go beyond that because I can't keep doing it full time for a career doesn't mean I still am not called to help people in this way. So, um, and the really good news is like I have started a partnership with Green Book Global. I can go ahead and announce this um, officially that I'm going to be doing some marketing stuff with Green Book Global. That it's basically commission based right now. That could turn into um, a real life changing position if I'm able to carry through with what I know I can do. So already I'm in a position to have my business sustainable before I reach that 30 days. And this has been um, about one, not even a full week of intentional movement, of just setting in my sight something that I know I've been called to do. This isn't about me doing what I feel like is is what is best for me. And I feel like that's the major shift I'm facing at this point is that for so long I've been doing what I thought was best, what I felt was needed for the next situation, and I had my heart, my eyes, and my soul closed to a higher power giving me instruction. Um, I've I've always believed in God. I've been through seven different varieties of what my faith looked like, but I've always believed that God has moved in my life. And in this last uh man, honestly, in the last like 3 to 5 years, I've seen a lot of things happen to where I feel like I'm very obviously being positioned to gain certain skills or to be around certain people or to have certain experiences that have have shaped me in a way to become a sharper weapon to deliver the message of God. Like I'm not saying that I am not a preacher or a minister or anything like that. Like I'm not trying to deliver God's message, but I'm saying that what I've been called to do, I feel like God has called me to do it. And that is that's a heavy but exciting weight now that I'm hearing it. Like now that I'm like, open to it and I'm letting it move me to action, things are falling in place in a way that they never have before. Like as I'm walking in the steps that have been ordained for me, it is very obvious that obstacles are being moved out of my way because this is the path I'm supposed to be on. Does that mean that I won't be tried and there won't be setbacks and there won't be ways that I'm going to be tested on this journey? I'm sure that I will be, but I think it's going to be in a way in which it makes me better version of myself to serve in this capacity to help men who are struggling to engage in their lives with passion and purpose because I've been there and I know what it's like, and there's nobody else better to help somebody get out of a deep dark place than somebody who's been there and knows the way out. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. That's when we keep showing up for the next 30 days, or not, for the full 30 days, and giving this my all and recording it so it'll be a testament to people who didn't believe that moving with intention can change your life. So all that to say, let's get into it. We are once again going through the 9 steps for ADHD. I'm sorry, 9 steps for the ADHD man to radically improve his communication instantly and deepen his relationships. Recap. Day one, learn to hit send on the first text. That is, stop waiting for perfection to come. It doesn't exist. Embrace the mess and start interacting with the people you love. Day two, or step two, say what you mean and mean what you say, and do it often. Um, when you say what you mean, you are you're having foresight. You're having um, enough of a thought process to like actually put your words together in a way in which what you're saying is meaningful, and then mean what you say, you're having the follow through and the integrity to back up the things that you say. So if you're saying what you mean, then meaning what you say shouldn't be hard. But if you are not saying what you mean, then following through and having uh, the integrity to follow up is a lot harder. So um, that was say what you mean and mean what you say. Then step four. Wait, that's not right. I can't count. Two, three. Step three was develop a truth addiction. Get addicted to it, man. Like the more you can get high on that feeling of connecting with people on a true and deep level, the more instinctual it's going to be to chase after it and make it your natural default state of just being honest. Like that's me. Like I am honest in here. I'm honest on my podcast. I'm honest in life. I really enjoy connecting with people in an authentic way because for so long I didn't do that. I I treated myself in a way that felt like I didn't deserve genuine connection. So I deprived myself of that. So now it's like my lifeblood. It's like the oxygen to me is having that authentic connection that is brought on by just honesty, just true honesty, and just getting an addiction for it. And yesterday we talked about become your own best wingman. Become your biggest cheerleader. Become the person who knows your goals, knows what you want to succeed in this life, and then goes about it in a way that you anticipate your needs and set yourself up for success. And then you cheer for yourself, and you also are supportive of yourself whenever you don't necessarily achieve the thing you went for. Like, how often do you mess up in a day on a small thing and you beat yourself up like you just lost the Super Bowl? Like, it's not that serious if you like misplaced your keys for 10 minutes. Like, it just isn't. It's not life changing. So don't change your life in a negative way by being so just so mean to yourself. Like, be your own best wingman and talk yourself up. You know, if you don't find your keys for 10 minutes, say, hey man, you got them eventually and you got to get out of here. It's okay if you were 10 minutes late. Like the person who, and also say, tell yourself like, hey, you should probably make a phone call because when you lose your keys, it takes a while to find them. So why don't you call the person you're about to go meet so they're not expecting you at the exact time. And that's, you know, setting yourself up for success and then being supportive of yourself. So become your own best wingman. And today's step kind of couples with yesterday's really tightly, because if we're talking about knowing exactly what you want in your life, having goals and values and beliefs, then you're going to have to do this in order to do that. And that is the hardest work of this whole process. Pour your foundation. Um, I would like this came up today. Like I'm in an ADHD support group I just recently joined, and a guy who was posting in there said he was struggling with the cyclical negative thoughts that are common with ADHD of how, you know, you start to just latch onto something that's not great and you just think it into the ground, and it's hard to escape and it's hard to give yourself any grace. Um, what I learned is that because I did this to myself all the time is that, you know, I had the worst inner dialogue. I'm sorry, the worst inner dialogue of anybody I knew until recently. And it was like I was just vicious. I would, you know, tell myself how fat and disgusting I am and how ugly my face is and how like, you know, just gross my skin is and you know, my clothes don't fit me, like everything I could think of physically. And then whenever I'd mess up, I'd say, you're an idiot. Like, can't you do anything right? You know, just the smallest things. And I'd spiral and just talk so poorly to myself. What changed this for me was defining my values and beliefs, realizing that there should be guiding principles that tell you how you what you want for your life. And whenever you like, they're going to be different for everybody. What works for me and what is true to me and what like I naturally and aspirationally aligned with is not going to be the same as it is for somebody else. But whenever you like strip away all the lies and expectations and opinions of others, and even your own negative opinions, and you look at what's really important to you and what you really believe and identify with, if you can identify those things outside of your emotions, outside of stress, outside of bad things happening in your life, and you can write down 5 to 7 of your core values and beliefs, um, and really like get to know them, become, and this is really important, is that you have to be extraordinarily honest with yourself, and you have to act like this list is never going to be seen by anybody but you. Because you can't manipulate it to look a little more sensitive to your wife, or I don't want my kids to see this and think that I think that it's more important for me uh to pour into myself before I pour into them. Like, you can't think about that. You have to focus on what is truly what you prioritize and value and believe, what you do, not what you've been taught by your um, your religion or your parents or your school or your friends, or what you do. And if that is religion, then that's, if it is a relationship with God, then that should be prioritized in your list. But because you were raised um, to be the patriarch in your religion, if that's something that you don't identify with, then it should not be in your list of core values. It can be something that you try to maintain, or something that you want to uh you want to like consider in the way that you move throughout life. But your core value should be about what you honestly and truly believe. And if you couldn't change them for the rest of your life, you would have no problem living by these rules, by these values and beliefs. And once you've created that list, that what I call your sorry of your core five, and it can be as little as four and as up to seven, but I think five is the optimum number. Um, you write them down, and once you've written them down, you start to say them in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. You say them every day. The point of this, and I think that at least one time a day you should say them out loud. The point of this is to start to take this information and receive it in your subconscious, and then just embed it there, to where you no longer have to think about what's important to you whenever you're having inner dialogue or outer dialogue with somebody else. Whenever you're faced with stress or decisions, you're you're naturally defaulting to the things that are the most important to you, because you know them so well that you don't have to think about it. You just start to move in a way that supports your vision for yourself and the things that you want in life. So, telling a story again, whenever I um, whenever I started the fire department, it had nothing to do with any sort of bigger vision for my life. It was because I was terrified. We had two kids already. Like, I was married. I was, I was reaching 30 pretty quick. I think I was like 27 or 28 whenever I started the fire department process. But I was working at a restaurant, and I was making chump change. Like, we had the rent down, and we were able to eat, but it was basically paycheck to paycheck, and we had another kid coming. And all of a sudden the panic became so monumental that I was like, I have to do whatever it takes to make the next step and financially, so I can support this family. Now, my number one priority value belief is to support my family. Like, I want to be the provider. That is what I value most. But it's not because I fear not being that. It's because I want to be that. Like, that is who I am and what I want to be. That is what identifies who I am the most strongly. In that situation, I was just scared. I was terrified. And so with that, I took a huge commitment in joining the fire department without really joining the fire department in a different city. I talked about it with my wife doing it in the same city, and we were kind of on the same page to a degree. We didn't really understand what it entailed because my dad was a firefighter, and like I had memories of him always being gone, but he also worked as an ambulance driver on his day off. So he worked 12 hours after his 24, like, 5 days in a row or whatever. And so I thought, like, surely this it won't be anything like that. Well, whenever I got on the fire department in Oklahoma City, because I couldn't get on in Tulsa because you had to have your EMT first, um, it all happens so, like, the process drags you out forever until you get accepted, then it all happens so fast. So we had, like, 3 weeks to find a house and move down here. We didn't have any money to really start. My dad helped us some, which, I'm appreciative of that, but we didn't have any community. We didn't have anybody to help with anything, and I had to start, like, 3 days after we got moved in down here, the academy, in which I didn't realize it at this time was gonna be completely all-consuming, and because I didn't have any sort of foundation as to what was actually important to me, I let my wife get completely crushed by this situation, like, she was destroyed, because for 6 months after the time I started this job, she was a single parent. Like, I was so dead bone tired whenever I got home that either I was studying for, a couple hours before I passed out, or I'd already studied before then I passed out, or I just passed out. And I was so focused in fear on reaching the next step of this process. There was no there was no higher brain thought. It was all survival. It was just survive. Get to the next part. Get to the next part. Just survive. And so whenever I look back at it and I think about how badly my wife was struggling, how much she hated it being down here, how lonely she was, and how broke we were for the first 2 years, the job eventually did create us, created a position to have financial security for a while, but that didn't last forever. And, like, there is no security that can be given by somebody else paying you. You have to be able to create your own thing and be able to recreate it over and over again in case it fails. So, anyways, in doing all that, I realize now that providing for your family is more than just about money. It's more than just about having a career. It's about being able to provide a safe place, a sanctuary for your family. And I didn't do that. Like, it breaks my heart now to think about how poorly I I maintained what our household was supposed to be because I was so scared. She was literally doing everything. She was making lunch for me, like, sending me, she was basically my nutritionist because I had to bring my body up to such a level it had never been before in order to just survive. And she didn't ask for that. Like, she didn't agree to that when it, like, to be completely snatched from her family that she had in the city that we were in and dropped in a place by herself, basically like an episode of Alone, and forced to feed everybody and do everything. And she could even cook before this. Like, I was the person who cooked all the time. So I had to teach her in, like, the 30 minutes I had a week of free time. And it was miserable. And she was really bitter at me for a long time about that. And that's something I bear, like, and I take responsibility for now. I didn't originally. Like, I was like, I got us out of the situation that we were in, and I provided something real for us to be able to see past the next week and how food was in our mouths. That's true, but had I not been so scared, I could have found a different way. I could have found a way that didn't involve me sacrificing her like a sacrificial lamb. Like, that didn't have to be the way it went down. And so, all that to say is you need to have your foundation laid so whenever the storm comes, your house doesn't fall down so easy. Like, and having a foundation of these values and beliefs that is rock solid, that you know so well, even if your house gets wiped out, you can rebuild immediately. Like, whenever my house was blown down by this storm of this job, like, I can even find the lot I was supposed to be building on. Like, I had no idea who I was and what that meant, and then I made that career my identity, and then whenever that career got difficult and I ended up leaving, like, I was pushed out, then my identity was I was lost again because I'm a firefighter. Like, that's what I am. Like, I didn't even like being a firefighter, but I had made it my identity. I enjoyed helping people. I am a person who loves helping people. I want to help people. But I didn't need to be a firefighter, but I had made it so like I had made it all that I was. And so whenever that went away, I didn't have anything. I wasn't anybody, and that was really tough to deal with. So now it's not about that anymore. It's about providing a sanctuary for my family, providing for them financially and spiritually, being the man that they need me to be for our family to not just survive but thrive. And that's where my second point comes in, and that's I believe that I have everything that I need. Like, I'm completely equipped to be able to create a situation where I can be the sole provider of our income. Like, I don't need to go back to a career that takes everything from me and gives very little back. I am going to build something that is going to provide for us. And if I have to go back to doing number one, I'm sorry, going back to doing it for somebody else just to provide, I'm going to still keep working towards number two. And that's something that I didn't have before, because if I would have known how important it was for me to build my own thing, I would have already been ready to leave the fire department whenever it happened. I would have already had the steps in place, and I would have been putting money towards building the thing that was going to be whatever I was going to do. Like, now I know that I'm being called to use my story to empower others to not go through the struggles I did. But then it would have been just knowing that this like I was serving that job for a time. It wasn't who I was. And I encourage everybody to lay their foundation and like really define their values and beliefs and make them honest and true, so that whenever the stress comes, you have no doubt as who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to act. Whenever the internal voice comes and tells you that you're not anything, you will know that, you know, if you're religious, you will know that no, that's not true, because I am created in God's image, and God's image is not a nobody. So that's, that that thought in your head is just it's a suggestion. You don't have to accept it. That's something that has also come for me recently, is that you have to realize that your brain is it's just like another person that like throws opinions out there, and some people think their opinions are the most important thing in the world, and that if you don't live up to their opinions, then you're a piece of crap. But really, in all reality, their opinions are just that, they are their opinions. They don't mean anything to you unless you let them. Same goes for your brain. If your brain is telling you that you are a piece of crap and that you don't deserve to leave bed today, or you don't deserve to have a family, or you don't deserve to have deeper communication, it is not true unless you let it be. Be who you deserve to be. Be the version of yourself that is not diluted, that is not turned down, um, that is not shaved down to fit into the whatever box you thought people wanted you to fit in. You are absolutely perfect the way you are, and I embrace you, and I love you for it. And you don't need those people who would tell you that you are broken. You don't need those people who need to tell you, like, they can go find less, to quote Elise Myers. Like, you don't need to be less of who you are. You need to be more of who you are. And if you are more of who you are, the people who are looking for you will be able to find you. Like, find your people and they will love you exactly how you are, especially ADHD people. I did not realize this at the time, but I was collecting ADHD people, and we'd have dinners, and I'd never had such deep connection in my life because I'd found my people. I found people who were like me, who appreciated my volume, and appreciated my excitedness, appreciated my intenseness in my conversation, appreciated my sarcasm and my sense of humor. I didn't have to be less in order to get acceptance. I just had to find different people. I encourage you to be more of yourself, not less, to find the people who are looking for you, because there is somebody looking for you. So, brief overview of what we talked about today. Pour your foundation, dig deep into yourself, and be completely and utterly honest about what is important to you, what you value, and what belief systems you want to make as part of your core foundation for you to live by for the rest of your life. And pretend like no one else will see it. Pretend like this is just for you and it's a complete secret, because maybe your mom, maybe your father has made fun of you for valuing your relationship with God, or maybe you think your wife is going to scoff in your belief in yourself that you can make it as an artist. But that's not for you to worry about. What you need to do is analyze what's in your heart and what's in your mind and what's important, and move on that. Stop living for other people and stop letting their opinions have any bearing on how you are moving forward if you are moving towards what you desire for your life. I think that's an important distinction there, is if you are moving towards what you value in this life. If you're floating around just with no direction whatsoever, maybe you do need somebody else to have an opinion on what you're doing. But if you have defined what your goals are and what your what your values and beliefs are, and you are letting experiences and people shape you in the direction that you want to go, anybody else who gets in the way of that needs to go. You need to, like, you're not for me anymore. I've got a plan for myself, and you aren't part of it. So either you can change and let me be who I'm supposed to be, or we can go our separate ways, because I am I am embracing me. I am accepting myself. Whether you do or not, that's on you. I'm enough. I'm enough whether you value it or not. I am enough. So come get some of this enough, or don't. I don't care. Either way, I'm moving forward and I'm going to change the world. It's not up to you whether I do or not. So that is today's live stream. Right about 27 minutes. Nothing in the chat, no comments. That's okay. Um, I've been getting people who've been watching them on the back end, and I've been getting some comments back. I've already, like I said, I've done a couple of free coaching sessions already, and I'm going to do a lot more, um, because I don't know. I hate hearing that people are hurting, and then hearing like, yeah, but I don't have the money. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you have the money right now or not. Like, nobody deserves to go through this feeling of being so disconnected in life and having no idea where you're moving towards, and just like floating out in the abyss. Like, it's depressing. I don't If I know that somebody's feeling that way, I want to offer some guidance, at least, some techniques and systems that will get you started. And as I have time, I will do as much. I'll give as many free resources as I can, and as people start to see my value, I know that they will start to pour back into me, so I'm able to do more of this or not. Either way, like, I'm going to keep giving value back to ADHD men, because I know that it can get dark. I know it can be hard, but there are people out here who care about you, and who have been where you are and want to help you get out. So if you are one of those people, please hit me up with a message, comment on the video, whatever. Hit me up, because I want to help you, and I'm not going to ask you for anything. Like, I just want to help. So as I say every time when I wrap up, be yourself, love yourself. Good night, everybody, and I'm hoping the best for you.